Hey, what's up, guys? It is another video here from the Oldbarn Homestead Ramsey Customs shop. Hadn't made a video on this channel in a little while. Just thought I'd show you what was going on here. And you can see my starting to get springtime, summertime. My weeds are growing up on me. The barn there. Some paint that just came in. Speaking of that, yep, I'm still painting in here. These are some boat parts I'm doing for a friend of mine that's also a diesel mechanic that has worked on my truck a few times for me. Really good guy. So he's paying me a little bit to cover the materials on this, but for the most part, we're kind of working out a trade because my truck's kind of acting up. Got a little bit of a weird issue, so he's going to check that out. An update on the plasma table. I think I'm getting really close now, and I know I've had several guys ask me about this because I mentioned several months ago I was going to be getting a new table, and TrueCut has been busy with production work and also just figuring out their next generation of tables and kind of what they're going to want to do with those. And I think they've kind of finally reached a point where they're ready to do that. So within the next 30 days, I'm going to be getting the new table. And I'll be selling this one. So if you're interested in that, just hang tight. I will definitely make another video. Don't contact me on this yet. I've got another group of people that from when I mentioned it before that were kind of on the list. So anyway, I'll keep you guys posted on that, and we will I'll go back through the people that have expressed interest before, make sure they see if they've already bought something else or whatever. But anyway, working on another project for Greg Porter, who runs the website called Skyscraper Guitars. And a lot of you guys know Greg. He's got a YouTube channel, does a lot of fabrication, welding, woodworking, CNC carving. He's got a CNC router, he's got a 3D printer, lots of stuff. Moved to Colorado recently. But he makes these sanding beams that he calls them, and I don't know exactly what the application is, but it's something in the construction of guitars to be able to get a really good finish. And I think they're, they just kind of serve as a block. But anyway, I'm making this batch for him. This is some 1x2 rectangle tubing with an 1/8 inch wall. And so he wants to get this edge on both sides as flat as possible. And so I was trying to figure out the best way to do that. I mean, I could hand lap them, but I don't have a granite surface plate. The closest thing I have to something that's doable on that would be this mill table, that mill table, or my table saw, which is over there. So what I did was I just set these up. I actually purchased a Tormach, let's see, Tormach Superfly, and anyway, that's the documentation I got for it. So it's the Tormach insertable fly cutter, and man, I gotta say, it worked really, really good. And I took about 15 thousandths off each side to be able to get it to clean up all the way across. Because if you lap these a little bit, what you'll see is that the top surface is actually cupped. And so I just put them in there and zip it across. And then with an indicator, after I would clean up one surface, I would get about 1 thou of runout or, unevenness. And the thing about it is it's actually a tapered 1 thou. So it would start here, let's say at 0, and by the time I got to this end, it would be +1. So it actually may be flatter than 1 thou in relation to itself. But I have no way to really check that, because everything I have, 1 thou across 16 inches, there's enough variance in everything I have that's flat to easily take that up. So, but anyway, so what I'm doing is, knocking them down, getting them flat with just zipping across it with that. You can see the surface finish that it leaves, and then coming over here and just because he gets them anodized, they need to be on a 220 grit finish after that. So I'm just putting well, that's actually not a finished one there. Here's a couple that I was working on. So putting a 220 grit finish all the way around. And some of these, I'm having a little bit of a problem where no matter how much, how deep I sand into it, there's little dings and things that are, still kind of wanting to show through. Not on this surface, because this has already been milled, and then I've come across and brushed it with the 220. So anyway, I know a lot of times I don't really show. There'll just be little build videos here and there of different things I'm working on. And so I just thought I'd make a shop update on this channel. You see I'm still painting in here, paint booth. Nothing really has been done in the last probably 2-3 weeks on that. But I'm kind of running out of billable jobs to do right now. And I've got a couple of things that are kind of back in the queue a little bit, but they're not quite ready for me to do it yet. So I'm going to have, I think, about a week's gap here, and I'm going to jump out there and finish the paint booth and get the remaining panels in, the lights, the electrical done. And, I kept trying to make this thing like perfect. And I need to get out here and get painting in it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, I mean, you guys have seen it before, but I got these panels and I got these 90-degree, trim pieces that they make is just sort of generic trim. And what I'm going to do with those is, I think I might have actually showed this in the last video, but I'm going to use this stuff right here, which is a foam sealer, and put a strip of it here and a strip of it up there, and then push that 90-degree into it and screw that. So that should seal that all off, and and get rid of that gap there, so that I don't end up pulling trash and things in from the gaps. However, there shouldn't be any trash because all that in there is sealed off, from the outside as well. But you know how dust and stuff is, man, it's like everywhere. And this thing's going to pull such a big suction that it's going to want to pull anything and everything from wherever it can. So anyway, guys, that's it. I just thought I'd make a video showing you what I had going on, what was going on around here. Not really a lot. Like I said, one thing I really want to get, obviously I don't have a lawnmower. So, in the summer, I just kind of let the weeds grow up, and I borrow my buddy's tractor every couple weeks, 3 weeks or so, and knock it down with a bush hog. I don't really want to buy, a cheap lawnmower and having to work on it. And I don't want to buy an expensive one that, cause I hate the thought of buying a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 lawnmower for the property that I have here. It's just not, I don't, at this stage I'm at, I just can't justify that. And, at some point when I get down the line, when I get ready to restore that barn and do something with this property and make it nicer than it is, instead of a big, weed pile, then yeah, I mean, I would want a nice lawnmower to keep it manicured. But I want something that I could use as a lawnmower, but also use to have steel brought in and out and lift at least like maybe 5,000 pounds. Lift these machines when I need to, and do something with this metal storage issue I've got. I mean, I've shown it in a couple of videos, but when I paint, I have to move this thing over here. Normally I keep it up against the door right there, but I have to move it over here, and it just clogs up the works. And I've got this just monstrosity of, it just offcuts and various things that, I almost never use it. It's just sitting in here collecting. And same thing with here, I mean, some of this stuff is new, tubing and DOM tubing and some things I got laying around, and some other small cut pieces, that are thick steel that can be used for things. And I do grab them occasionally. But on a regular basis, it's just sitting here, you know. And the same thing with this. Occasionally, I'll grab something out of there that I can get easily, but a lot of it's so stacked up on top of each other, it's like a pain to get to. And I end up just, you know, grabbing a new sheet or something because I'm in a hurry to get it done. So I got to get something better with this so that I can use these offcuts, make them accessible. I thought this might work, but you end up just stacking so much of it in there. If you want to go, you know, digging and get something out of there, well, you got to pull the whole thing out. And so what I'm thinking is, I mentioned this before, I believe, in a video, but what I'm thinking about doing is buying one of those, you know, portable carports that you can get and have it closed in on 3 sides. And this space I have out here beside the shop, where my trailer is, all this space is available to be used. And I haven't measured it, but I will get a pretty big one to go out here and, you know, and build some shelving and racks and things and keep it closed in so it's somewhat protected from the elements and doesn't like immediately flash rust. And maybe I can keep it covered with some plastic to you know, keep that from happening. Because even though, you know, I mean, I have more out here as well. I'll show you some of this. Even though this is covered, this stuff, and again, this is junky out here, guys. So I try to keep the shop, you guys see it in videos, I try to keep it as organized as I can. But I got pallets, and I mean, some of this steel has been out here for a couple of years, and even though this is covered in here and doesn't get direct rain on it, there's enough moisture in the air that all this is, you know, pretty well flash rusted over. And it's okay. I mean, I can still clean it up and use it, but it is kind of a pain. Even these hot roll sheets that I bought new like 2-3 years ago, which I rarely use, they flash rusted over pretty good too. Which I actually, this worked out well because occasionally you want some rustic looking metal for metal art because that's the look you're going for, and I have that to come grab from. And so yeah, so I got angle iron here in these small sizes, 8x6 by 3/4. Those are left over from a billable project that I was supposed to get more of and never did. So, but I'll hopefully use them for something. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, you know, put one of those carports in place out here. Have it be big enough and wide enough where I could have storage there, and also room to get a forklift or a tractor or something in and out to, you know, lift heavier plates or even thinner sheets and get them around and get them in the shop. And so, you know, I don't know what you guys think about that. You know, what's a good solution? You know, I've got a 10-foot or 8-foot tall door, so it can't be too tall, and, you know, want to be able to mow with it and lift with it and not have it be so big that when you get into the shop that there isn't room to, you know, maneuver it around and so forth. Again, I would assume that this is, you know, paint booth is up and operational, and that this trailer and that storage back there are out of here, and so that frees up more room to, you know, make sure there is plenty of room to get in and around and in here. So, all right, guys, I know I'm rambling on. I just thought I would show you what I was working on and show you, you know, kind of what I got going on. And yeah, let me know if you got any thoughts or comments about the tractor situation. And by the way, if you're going to use this fly cutter, man, this thing slings chips everywhere. Now, they're not sharp and they're not overly heavy. They're really light and thin, and, you know, and so they don't even stick to your shoes when you walk on them. But it does work extremely well. You can see that surface finish that I got on this older mill, and I've never been able to get, and you can see a little bit of chatter in some of these, and I think it was just more to do with my setup, you know, 16 inches across here. And it got chatter in one direction more than another. But anyway, very impressed with it. I'll see you guys.